Welcome to Liberty Lane TV here on YouTube, a channel to help you navigate the skies as we experience it, and also particularly talking about the cycles of the moon. So this reading for you today that's being offered is actually for the full moon in Libra, which falls and takes place on the 16th or 17th, depending on where you are, but GMT time at 1854. But this week and today particularly is a really very significant and profound time that we're going through. So it's a very significant day, as well as a very profound time, because we're actually shifting a lot of what we've been talking about. So there's been a major build up to what's really happening. And today we've got Jupiter. This is the 12th of April. And we've got Jupiter in conjunct with Neptune, which falls in Pisces. Okay, so this is a really big deal. The reason it's a big deal is because it's an exact conjunction. And for those that know the terms, conjunction essentially means next to. Okay, when it's exact as well as it's on the same degree, which makes everything a lot more potent. So as we're shifting towards this full moon, okay, and if you actually go back to listen to the new moon, if you haven't done so, which was actually took place on the 1st of April, the message, the overall message from Spirit that day, that card, was to power up. And that is very much the theme of April. Okay, and that still stands, okay, because the energy is just a ripple on effect. And it is really important as we're making these shifts currently, especially at this time, that we hold on to our power. We are empowered. And this is not anything to do with spiritual bypassing. Okay, so let me explain a bit about this spiritual bypassing. Now, spiritual bypassing, which is very likely to happen with this Jupiter and Pisces conjunction, is when one doesn't do the inner work, the healing work, okay, and then sort of decides that they've listened to something and they're talking about higher vibrations, and it's all about raising your consciousness and raising your vibration. But unless you do the root work, the root canal, if you like, the excavation of your pain and your wounds, you are not going to be able to actually really come from an absolute essence of yourself. And more than often than not, you'll be making decisions based on your wounds. You'll be making, you'll think you'll be trusting your intuition, and yet in fact it's your wounded intuition that's guiding you. And this is why you might wonder, well, why did this happen? Or sort of constantly complaining or being a victim or whatever it is. Okay, so this today and beyond, and we've been building to this, is really profound, that we really start paying attention to what's really in front of us. Okay, I previously, in my previous videos for a while, and I haven't done this for a while, I've been getting guided messages, and for some reason I felt this particular recording I'll be doing for you, and since this morning I've been really getting a lot of words and sort of downloads of how I really want to approach this YouTube today. Anyhow, I got a message which I think is very poignant, and I will read it out to you and I'll show it to the camera in a minute. Elevate yourself to new heights, but keep your awareness to what is in front of you. It is there, or it is here, that you will find what needs healing for the big release. So for me, this message really, in the video message, is going to be the big release. And we all have this amazing, incredible opportunity to do the big release. And it doesn't have to be something really mammoth. Okay, when I say the big release, so it could be something that's going to slap you in the face, or it could be something that's really subtle and you're just experiencing it and you're noticing it and you're actually feeling certain things. Okay, and this all depends on where you are on your development, on your spiritual growth, how much you've bypassed things and think that you've been just living out of a higher level consciousness without actually doing any sort of chakra work, here. Okay, and really sort of tuning into your chakras or balancing them out. A message I always come back to over and over again. Okay, you will not be able to really sort of kind of make the changes energetically. Okay, and these are energy spheres, and we contain all our wounds, all our healing, all our power within these power centers. This is why it's called the power centers. So I digress slightly, but it's really important that we understand the potency of this time. And the reason this is also the case, not only to do with Jupiter and Neptune. Okay, now Jupiter is a planet of expansion, very quickly and very briefly, and Neptune is also the planet of bringing things to light. You know, it's a power, it's also can be very full of illusions and delusions, okay, but at the same time it's a very high manifestation planet. So again, if we're not doing the work, you know, or if you're not, you could actually be creating more problems by deluding yourself about what's really going on, or you could be listening to too much news which is all about doom and gloom, and then sort of be living out of that kind of place in your life. So it's really, really important, and perhaps even need to check in what makes you so. Okay, what makes you sort of attached to people that you feel that you need to rescue, or attach yourself to the news, all the doom and gloom, and then start sort of burdening yourself with the fear. Okay, this is so important that you actually really tune into how you are feeling, what it is that you want to create in your life, and actually paying attention to what is also being communicated to you from spirit, or from great mystery, or from the divine. Okay, because the veils are very thin, particularly with this Jupiter and Neptune conjunction. But what makes it very potent is also we've got Pluto squaring, which is often kind of more of a bit more of a jarring, I won't say jarring, but what it is a challenging one. It makes it mean that we can't escape it. We can't pretend it doesn't exist. Okay, so Pluto, the planet of transformation, is actually squaring the moon, which falls in Libra, hence the full moon, and the sun, which is, of course, we're in Aries season, okay? So these aspects, particularly at this time, we're asked again and again and again to be shifting. And this shifting has to happen because we're all aware of the collective change that needs to happen, that is happening. And we're all a part and parcel of the whole. So the healing really starts within ourselves. And then in the healing of ourselves, we can then elevate ourselves, our light, and become the beacon to help others, you know. So whether you're an empath or a healer or a shaman or even a librarian or somebody, it doesn't matter what your profession is. It is about how you show up, who you're being. Okay, it is not exclusive to certain people only, all right? But we're all here responsible to become fully embodied in ourselves, in our spirit and our soul journey. So, and also there's a bigger planet called Sedna, which is also conjunct, I believe, I think it's Uranus or Chiron. Unfortunately, this chart here I've got in front of me doesn't give me the aspect, but basically it is also about the female, the feminine divine, all right, making the changes. We're really shifting into the matriarch kind of consciousness, or certainly the divine feminine consciousness, and we're dissolving, as slow as it will be and has been, the 5,000-year cycle of the patriarchal system. Okay, now I really recommend you, I'll put a link below, that you listen to this incredible astrologer and astronomer, and also you've got to just listen to her, actually. I couldn't even start reading off her title, but Heather Ensworth, okay, now she's done an absolutely fantastic talk, only 24 minutes long, and she does go into great detail about the planetary activity. And it's worth signing up to her newsletter because she's actually very good, very informative, and she's certainly about the higher consciousness of where we're going in those terms, okay? So coming back to kind of more the earthly term here now, regarding the Libra full moon, is also to do with relationships, of course. So there'll be a balancing, a noticing of our relating to people. So what is being heightened? What is being seen? Where are you experiencing perhaps when you've given your power away? Okay, or where is there a power struggle with certain people in our lives? That is all extraordinarily important, and that's going to be heightened. Okay, and these cycles repeat themselves, but they become more potent, they become more imminent, they become more critical. And depending again on how far you've developed yourself, okay, you might be really experiencing some significant emotional pain. You could be experiencing resentments, wherever you are, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and what is important is you decide to actually really kind of, because this cycle is going to take all of us, whether we like it or not. And I kept on getting images of like the big wave, the big surf. Okay, so it is in some way very much riding the waves. You know, we are living in turbulent times. We are living in very uncertain times, and we're still engaging in life in the unknown. Okay, a lot of people don't know what's next for them, where they're going. We might be setting up projects, we might be doing this, that, and the other, whatever it is, but there's still a huge amount of the unknownness because there's a massive shift. And when we're in between worlds of a shift, we often don't know how to be in these times, and we're also feeling ourselves through it. Okay, but we are being asked to come from a place of compassion, not only for ourselves, of course, and when you start being compassionate towards yourself, then you can be compassionate towards others, which is very much also a heart chakra element. Okay, and I think that was one of the key players in the last reading I did. So before I go also on about anything else, I always do, just to give you a quick sort of housekeeping on how these are done if you're tuning in for the first time. Okay, there are 4 directions here on the mat, and you're able to choose which direction you want to sort of have the reading on. So these readings are now to do with more your personal and also, of course, a collective. All right, now there are only 4 directions, and I'm not too involved in doing the astrological signs, but I'd like to do it all around the moon cycle. So just to give you a bit of the housekeeping, this is the Spirit of the North card, so you can choose this for your reading, okay? This is also to do with the earth element, so any astrological sign to do with the moon's rising, or your Venus, as people say. I like the North Node particularly, so any earth sign element, if you're actually attuned to your earth sign, that you've got that aspect in your chart, then you could also listen to the North. Okay, now we've also got the Spirit of the East, which is the air element. Okay, and you can choose this direction or choose any of the facets to do with the air, so you get a reading on that. Okay, and I'm changing the format again slightly today. We've got the Spirit of the South, so if you choose that as your direction that you want to get the message from, then choose this card if this card appeals to you, or if you're a fire sign as well, so that'd be Sagittarius, Leo, and Sagittarius, Leo, and I forget. But anyway, for any fire signs, will come back to me. It always comes back to me. Okay, and this is the Spirit of the West as well. Okay, so this is the water sign. So that'd be Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. Any of those 3 fire elements. Water elements. Okay, but again, you just choose whichever card. There'll be a photo now up, and you can pause the video and you can have a look at what is on the mat for when you make the choice. But coming back to the central reading, so it is very much about the big release and big letting go. Now I've got my Osho Tarot here as well, and one of the cards that fell out, which I thought I'll keep open, is because this is really practically a very good indication of what's happening. Okay, if you notice that there's a figure there, okay, she's being held by life, if you like, held there, and then at the same time she's having to let go and release. So I feel like this is a time now where we're really needing to let go of our safety, okay, or what we think is being safe. Okay, we get so used to the comfort area of our lives, you know, we hold on to things, we hold on to our professions, we hold on to our homes, we hold on to whatever, and then life will sometimes throw us an opportunity which might seem as a bad luck situation, or anything, but it depends on how we decide to frame it and how we look at it. And it might be time to let go. It could be certain dreams, it could be also a way of being, and particularly I think on an emotional level, we're being really asked now to look at what needs to be, doesn't serve. Okay, and I was reading an essay today about what really serves us and what really doesn't serve us as well, and what does that mean. Okay, and only you have the inner marker for that knowing about what needs to go and what needs to stay. Okay, there's so much information out there as well, including this. There's so much misguided information, so many rules, but you have to get rid of things, and live, the kind of like the Japanese whatever style, or there is something about living very zen and very sort of clear and stuff, but there's also things about holding on to things. I know it sounds like a paradox, but there are times where we might not have a need for something, but we might have an emotional connection with it. Okay, now it's up to you to discern whether it's something you keep or something you don't need to keep anymore. All right, but just pay attention to the positive sense of it or the negative, really, and that is your marker. Okay, your heart will never lie. Now the other thing, also another card now I also pulled for as a central core, which is to do with the current energy. This is from my energy deck, and we got the journey card, and I think also this is very poignant as well. And this is also as regards travel. Now for some, this could actually mean that you might actually really need to physically move somewhere, relocate, or get a new job as well. So there's a lot of shifting, and as we shift as well, what used to work for us will no longer work for us. So it's going to be natural that shifting will happen. Now, like the universe will either do it for you, or you will actually end up doing it consciously for yourself. But this card, I feel, is also beyond that. This is about, again, letting go of things or ways of being. Look, she's waving things off. She's waving people away, maybe, or an attitude, or it could be how she used to do life, or how we're doing life, whatever it is. You know, you could end up maybe always let me give you an example. Perhaps, you know, denying your truth. Maybe you've got somebody who, you know, kind of drags you down, you know, they're always complaining, or maybe they like to go out and party hard and you don't mind seeing them because they used to be your friends from way back when. But every time you go and hang out with them, it's the same kind of energy and they're kind of stuck in a loop. And then you find that actually that's just not serving you anymore. So whatever it is, however small the detail of it in your life could be, this is really a time to pack your bags, be really clear about what it is that you want to take with you and actually leave behind. And I really feel that this message has been very key for a lot of the coming up, you know, the messages that we've been getting over and over again. Okay, you know, some of the position, if you like, or where you're going in life could be a lot more clearer than some others. Okay, so, you know, look up the signposts as well. My eyes have gone into the different sort of there as well. You know, so just really be clear about what's really pulling you. Okay, what energy are you being led by? All right, and pay attention to that kind of energy. Okay, really as well, do as much chakra work as you can to tune up your chakras, do some sound meditations, go to some sound baths or whatever it is to keep you centered. Okay, this has ended up being quite a long intro, but I'll continue as well. Now, the other card I have never ever used, and I also don't often use in my own home as well, is the Kuan Yin deck. Okay, this is also by Alana Fairchild. It is a beautiful divine feminine deck. Okay, it is designed for that purpose. I don't know what I did with the box actually, but it is by Alana Fairchild. And I felt very moved to pull a card here. And I felt that actually the message here is to do with what's called the 10 Sisters of Flight. Now, because these cards are really new to me, I'm just going to do a quick scan out of the book, but I felt, and I had a quick look as well prior to recording, and I feel also there's a lot of synchronistic messages here for the collective. Okay, so take what you will of it. Okay, this talks about us being old souls. So, and I'm going to assume that people are actually watching this who are tuned into this, you are an old soul and you know this already. Okay, even as whatever souls we come, we have our own personal journeys to go through. We're always learning and carving and getting in touch with our soul. Okay, there are young souls and older souls, but we're not without our own life lessons to learn, but in some way we can maybe advance a lot quicker. Okay, and you might be the guiding force and the guiding light for your community of people around you. Okay, but we all, if you look at the subject here as well, there's darkness around it. So unless you start actually really engaging in work that will help to elevate your sense of self, you will actually always be pulled back by a lot of the noise in the dark, which is where we're at collectively. There's a lot of that going on. Okay, and you might find that, you know, you've got to just accept people for where they are. Don't even try and put your voice out there and, you know, battle with them. Just let them be where they are, because it's really important that you keep your boundaries very clear. But I will just quickly read here. So this is a time now, it says, where you've come into this lifetime with lots of experiences and have experienced lifetimes, so that nothing's all lost and enhanced. So know that you've got all the wisdom within you, okay? You're in the process of spiritual awakening and spiritual weaving and integration at a soul level now, which is what's happening with the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction. That's what it is, okay? We go through, they conjunct in every 13-year cycles, but to be an exact conjunction, I believe the last one was about 165 years ago. So it's a really big deal, okay? And that's almost like a shift of consciousness where we're actually collectively making a shift. Okay, it says here, you may find that you know things from different traditions that you have no recollection of ever learning. Okay, you may even feel strangely drawn to start studying different healing arts, martial arts, or other kind of modalities, maybe even the chakras or the Kabbalah or whatever it is, okay? And only to find that there's somehow something's very familiar to your heart. Okay, so this is what I'm saying about what are you drawn to? Trust it, okay? Try and bypass, you know, your mental logic and saying, well, you know, I have not done that before and I don't even know why this is happening or why I feel moved to check it out, but just trust it. Okay, So it says here also, be patient and open and trusting of this journey, okay, which is what this is about as well. You know, we don't know how long the journey is. We don't know how long the string is. We don't know anything, but we've got to trust the journey, okay? It is an intense time for spiritual growth, as in the integration, and there's also the shedding of the old issues of pain, or issues or pain that no longer serves you. Okay, so it is good to let go of this. Okay, and like I said, it's very, very important. So if you're aware that you're holding on to certain ways of being, or you're putting other people first, or you're now really beginning to resent the fact they've been left out in the cold, this is telling you that there is something that needs to be let go of within yourself first and foremost, and then your external world will change. Okay, what else can I share here? Oh, right, this is lovely. You're being asked to encourage activation of past life abilities in your current lifetime by letting go of past pain and issues. And if you're not conscious fully of what they are, through releasing pain with a breath out of the heart chakra. Now, heart chakra really helps to heal. Okay. Now, the work I also do very much is about the inner child, the wounded self. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's the inner child, because you've come back from a previous lifetime with the same baggage, the same story, and then just reenacting it by choosing the same kind of soul family, the soul parents, the soul sisters and the brothers and all that, to again relearn and to kind of integrate, and develop onto another higher soul level. So this is really important. Heart chakra will definitely heal the heart, but the key is to go back to your childhood or past life regressor, which is something I don't do, but you might want to look them up, and then see if you can actually once and for all, or at least get a step towards the big release. All right. No longer carrying the cloak really of what's holding you back. So this oracle is also a guidance that in your life at present, there's a past life pattern or contract strongly operating. Okay, this is neither good or bad, but it is helping you to grow either in a supportive way or in a way that is challenging you to become stronger. This past life contract may arise in the form of a teacher, relationship, or teaching. It may resolve itself by you receiving the teaching and letting go of a relationship, or accepting a new relationship into your life, or letting go of the philosophy or teaching so that you may expand your awareness with a different teaching that helps you access the wisdom that you need for your growth at this particular phase of your journey. Now, I think something I want to add here as well, a lot of relationships will again be coming up to scrutiny. There'll be new relationships. There'll be lots of shuffling around. Some of you may be ending relationships and moving on to new ones quite quickly. Someone might have been actually on the journey of self-healing and sort of navigating the terrain of actually sort of, getting yourself back on track, and therefore will be open, or suddenly something could come out of the blue. And some of you might have been coasting around thinking this is okay, and suddenly you realize this is not okay anymore. Again, relationships are the great teachers of our inner world and our personal soul development. Okay, so always bless the gifts that each relationship, friendship, employer offer for us. Okay, so it's about trusting our experiences, realizing that there's no better or worse. Okay, kind of like releasing the judgment, but also becoming very discerning. Okay, that's what's important. Okay, a friend put me up actually the other day, sort of saying, "Oh, you're really judgmental," and I know that I can be. And I said to her, "Yes, I am." But I think the key therefore is it's not so much my judgment that is wrong, but it's actually that it is by implementing the tools of discernment and being really clear about what your values and what works and what doesn't work. And it may come sort of almost sometimes equate as a form of judgment, but actually it is about really bringing the discernment into the space, which will really help you to actually navigate the truth that is actually important for you, okay, and what benefits you as well, okay. Once you've learned a lesson, it's no point going down the same path, okay, but if you're not awake, you're going to constantly attract the same old dramas, the same old people, and there are ways of actually communicating the changes that you're going through. Well, actually just be discerning with your time and who you give your time to. So I'm going to leave this particular intro for this. This ended up being a lot longer than I've actually done, but I think it is really important, okay, that you allow yourself, and do spend some time in this full moon as well, I will say, doing some kind of meditation where you're actually, sort of being guided to receive the support and protection around this time, okay, and really kind of tune in. And I really also feel that actually the root chakra is very important again, because if you see here, you're allowing yourself to be very rooted, and without being rooted, say like you're on a surfer on that surfboard, like you know, that I mentioned earlier, you will just fall off your board. You get knocked off really easily. So it's really important to get your grounding, your footwork, you know, go out into nature. You know, the weather is getting brighter and warmer. So, you know, maybe take your socks off and really plant your feet through the earth, you know, on the ground, or any form of martial art, Tai Chi, any Qigong, any of that kind of thing also is very much about energy work as well, as with yoga as well. So if you're doing the mountain pose, you know, really get into your sort of being in the structure through your feet, up through into your ankles and all the way into your hips, into the root chakra, and spend some time really focused on that part of the body and imagine channels of energy coming through. So you're really beautifully grounded. All right. And then you can then do a quick scan of your chakras if you want. And like I've always said, just check the YouTube videos out. Okay. And I will look at individual chakras, which I tend to do for each direction as well, okay, because we all have different chakras that are strong, weak sometimes and stuff, but this is just the overarching message for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to pause this part of the video and actually sort of put my other camera on, which is what I do in order to get the reading. So with this reading, we're actually going to look at, I've got 4 different decks here, the Sacred Path cards, the Moon Oracle deck, and the Surrender deck, okay, to see what it is, what we need to give up. And my Osho Tarot as a possibility, as well as the Oracle, following the Divine Oracle card as well. So let's see what the next segment will speak to you about, okay? So again, just choose your, I'll put the photo back up. So choose your direction here. And then just tune in, and then you can choose a direction as in just the card, and then maybe even tap into your actual element, which is, you know, an element that you feel moved to listen to. Or like I always say, you can also listen to all of them as well as a cycle of where we're going. When I say all of them, so it could be like you might have 2 aspects, like your sun is an air sign and your moon is an earth sign. All right, so you can listen to those 2 as well. Okay, it's here for you as an offering with the intention of giving you some guidance to navigate the terrain from this full moon to the next full moon. But we've also got the solar eclipse at the end of the month of the new moon. So like I said, it is a very intense month. Some of you might be riding it out smoothly, and other times of you, you know, and it is going to be an up and down journey throughout the month, and you're not doing anything wrong, just know that. But let's move on to the next part of the reading. If you got this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you're going to capture your elements or the direction. Bye for now. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with the Spirit of the East here, because the full moon is in Libra, which is an air sign, and that's how I tend to choose the start of the direction. Okay, so this is for anybody with the air sign, or also anybody with who've chosen the Spirit of the East card. So this card appealed to you. We're going to start here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is do the cards reading slightly different today, and I'm actually going to shuffle on camera, and I'm just going to choose a surrender deck, which is what we need to let go of. So coming up to this full moon, what would be the most important, because one of the themes I would say, the big theme is not only letting go of our issues, but surrendering. So let's see if there's anything here for those from the Spirit of the East regarding needing to let go of. Okay, right. All right, so you guys got, watch out for surrender stubbornness. So some of you actually could be holding on, I'd say, to maybe your ideas, you know, okay, your plans. Here, I've got 2 cameras going, so I'm just going to put this one together. So I'm just going to read it here for a moment. Okay, this is about taking a rigid stance about anything. You can actually be rigid about maybe something that's happening in your life. You are, you know, refusing to accept maybe what's happened. Maybe your relationship's breaking down, or maybe you're being asked to leave, or maybe you're still holding on to something. Whatever it is about you taking a rigid stand, and this is what's coming up for you for up to this full moon. Okay. All right, now take it as it is. Energy is fluid as well, so you know, just take this message at any time that you could be listening to it, because there will be a message here for you. Okay, it's not going to resonate with everybody, but certainly a message. So I feel also something about perhaps where do you need to loosen your grip, you know, with a particular somebody or anything. Just observe yourself and become more yielding. It says here, this will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. Okay, so you could be somebody who really likes to have it a particular way, and you're always I won't say yes, but there is a kind of something to do with, needing to let go. Okay, the letting go also really fits in with this journey card. Okay, and this is about listening to any of the issues that you might have. Okay, you might be insistent that so and so is wrong and your sister's wrong or so and so's wrong, and then everyone's doing this to you or whatever it is. Okay, or maybe you might be complaining about, well, every time I go out I end up spending more money than I want because my friend takes me out to the really expensive bars, whatever it is. Okay, and you might find that actually, well, it's you who's doing that. Okay, or you could be complaining about your partnership, and somehow you are the one who's being rigidly holding on into the partnership. So I think it's really important that you start taking stock of perhaps where your personal self is holding on to something or insisting it has to be, it could be so many things. There's so many variants here, but I think it's really important that you kind of just take stock. And I will read hopefully these cards all together, but this is really important that you actually, that you really observe where it is you're holding on. Now, the card that popped out, which is what this full moon wants to highlight, which you need to gain, is self-love. So this is absolutely lovely as well. Okay, this is from Stacey DeMarco's deck, the Moon Oracle, the Queen of the Moon Oracle, which I absolutely love. So I would say as well, so perhaps this is an opportunity for you to even love yourself more. Okay, your self-love has to come from a place of where you really choose yourself first. This could be actually really uncomfortable for some of you, especially if you're the sort of type person that will do things for others often, and go out of your way to sort of put yourself out because you feel that you're obliged to, or you've been raised to feel that you have to do certain things or obliged to do certain things. And what happens is you end up completely welching on yourself time and time again, despite certain feelings that might come up in the moment. Okay, we've not been educated or raised to live in the moment, moment to moment. All right, we've been, kind of educated and forced to live by rules, okay, patriarchal rules. You must do this, or if you say you're going to do that, then you can't change your mind, or, well, it's not quite like that, but you know what I'm saying. You feel very obligated to fulfill it. And sometimes, you know what, the truth is that maybe to honor yourself more would be the right thing to do. And actually, if not feeling it, you're not feeling it, and you can actually really take stock of honoring yourself a bit more and putting self-love first. So this is anything that you actually need to do to make things flourish for you. Very important. So self-love is certainly a message, okay, for the air signs and for the spirit of the East people. I'm keeping this quite, well, that's nice. I've got a few cards opened up, but one turned up, so I'm just going to take the one. So this is also the outcome. So by actually you releasing the stubbornness, okay, and rigid being. So, you could be living by rules thinking, well, I said I was going to go and I really don't feel like going, so I have to go and I don't know what to do. Okay, and then really, in essence, if you actually put your self-love first, this would have actually really helped for, you to actually really honor yourself and be kind of more loving to yourself. And these are subtle things. They're small incidents that happen in the course of our days and our moment to moment. But if we're not dishonoring it each time, or you think you can't send a message to somebody because what will they think or whatever it is, then you're dishonoring yourself and you're certainly not loving yourself. So it's really important that you do that. The other thing here is, okay, so the outcome for this is advancement. So this is wonderful. This is about also, I feel that there's, a lot of learning here, and there's an opportunity through actually advancing yourself now by really taking on this ability to love yourself, okay, and also putting all what you've learned. The war bonnet, I feel, is somebody who's kind of fought life, okay, as well. You've had a lot of experience. Like this card, it said you've come in with already knowing a lot. And these feathers here, okay, that the native wears in the power hour dance or anything like that, they're honorable merits of achievement, wisdom and insights and sort of advancement. And the more you have, the more you're like the chief that can actually advance. So this is also telling me that by letting go of any kind of stubbornness, or maybe the things you might feel that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, and you're being stubborn or somehow lodged into your thinking and way of being, that it's actually dishonoring. And really, by actually claiming your self-love for all the air signs here, it's really important that you actually release whatever you think that you can't, okay, and whatever sort of you feel obligated to, and it could be even a thing as well. you know, maybe you've held it for so long, maybe already you had it for a purpose and now there's something wrong with it, and maybe it's now time to release it, to actually give it up, to see what else could take its time. But whatever it is certainly going to help you advance. Okay, so this is a wonderful transition of the three cards, moving from a place of holding on to something quite stubbornly, I'd say, but actually looking at what it is, how can you love yourself more, and really maybe weigh up the pros and cons as well. You might need to sort of write a list of what's going to blossom, what's going to help you move forward, what's actually holding you back, maybe looking at finances, maybe it's related to your finances as well. So, you know, if you get X, you know, is it going to cost you so much and can you afford it, rather than just sort of just holding on to the idea that you have to have this thing, wherever it is on for you. Okay, you will get the clarity that I think you will see it, particularly in the next few days as you go in. You know, do ask for the guidance as well, and ask for whatever guidance you need to support you for your highest good. Okay, so as a bonus card, I feel moved actually to give you this sort of little single card from Tosha Silver's deck, which is a wild offering. Okay, and since it's about also releasing and letting go, I feel like this is really important at this time. Now, I think also this is about independence. So some of you, again, might be feeling the fear of actually being really fully independent around this theme as well. Maybe holding on to people that don't really work for you, or hanging out with people with, you know, sometimes when we're looking for to be filled from the external source, be it through our relatives, through our, you know, nieces, nephews, you know, family members, mothers, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's a sense of our inner child is fearful of being independent. So this is really important. This kind of independence, I think, will speak to some of you as well, which comes back to self-love. You know, if you're fully in love with yourself, and not in a narcissistic way, okay, here as well, you know, if you're fully in love with yourself, you know, you're really capable of being independent. You know, you're not afraid of your own company. You feel secure in it. You don't have this sort of empty sense of, oops, I thought I can smell something burning. My incense is just burning my threads on the mat. Yeah, so maybe burn away all the sort of, you know, these fears that you have. But anyway, here it says, the more you learn to feed yourself on the inside and care for the inner child, the freestanding you become. Help me feed and love this inner child, dear Lord. So I think this will really speak to some people, and I can really think of one or two people that could be, you know, that could be, this message could really hit home for. And again, this overall card is very much the heart chakra as well. Okay, so it's really important that you maybe tune into that heart chakra and feed yourself that love, okay, through your heart as well, and really nurture that inner child as well. Okay, and speak to it lovingly, okay, and say, I'm here for you. You know, you're not on your own. You know, you might feel like you're on your own, and I know that maybe so-and-so's not even here anymore, or being like this, but just speak to a lovely, you know, your inner child as if you would a child that you loved very much, and you'll be absolutely amazed about how that could actually shift your thinking and your feeling, and actually really strengthen it, okay, in tandem with the heart chakra there. I'm actually going to leave the heart chakra as the main chakra for the spirit of the East. Yeah, I think I will, rather than pull one out. You know, yeah, we've got the root chakra here. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to go with what I feel. So this heart chakra really is for the spirit of the East, I think, especially if it's pertaining to self-love. So I really hope that you've got something from this. Just let go of anything that doesn't warm your heart. That's what my advice, final advice would be. Let go of anything. So, you know, use that as a scale, okay, on your journey as well. Does this warm my heart? Does this make my heart feel good? And if you keep on making decisions based around on that, not only will you strengthen the love for your inner child, or the wounding of the inner child, but you'll certainly feel much more independent in your decision making, be able to also, you know, release the rigidness. Rigid is when we're actually holding on, controlling. People who are controlling tend to be, you know, very kind of, well, they can come across as being unloving, that's for a start. And also, but they're also afraid to really tap into that softness in the heart as well. Okay, and, you know, we can always have compassion for whoever that might be. So I'm going to leave the reading here for the spirit of the East and the air signs. I hope you've got something from this reading. And I am now going to move on to the spirit of fire, which is the spirit of the South, which is the fire signs. Okay, so I'll catch you there if you are going to tune in. Okay, just very quickly, I'm coming back to the this spirit of the air signs rather than spirit of the east. As I was putting their cards away or going to start reshuffling, one thing I tend to sometimes forget over and over again is looking at the bottom of the deck, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And I feel like I need to say this because, in fact, the bottom of the deck cards are really correlate very beautifully to the cards that were actually out. Now, I did say about, maybe see what's blossoming here about the self-love. And I think this is exactly what's going to happen for you, because at the bottom of the deck here, we've got the card of fruition. So this is an opportunity that when you start really loving yourself, that you're going to start really creating, a huge sort of, not even the manifestation abilities, but an ability to really create an abundant sense of self and life as well, and be filled with sort of abundant ideas, even if you can't see your way through it. Okay, that the fact that you can invoke a sense of self-love for yourself, which is so important, which comes back to that inner child card and the independence card that we had, which unfortunately I've put back in the deck somewhere, but was also interesting at the bottom of this deck as well at the time was empowerment. So again, when you work on your inner child and you get a sense of independence, that's really true. Okay, there's different kinds of independence. If you're kind of saying, well, no, I'm not going to go do that, or I don't care that they don't want to see me. That's actually a wounded independence. That's a child that's kind of like has a hump. Again, that's not really actually empowerment at all. A true empowered person is able to sort of, not only surrender everything, but be able to, by talking to your inner child, you'll actually empower the inner child yourself, essentially, to come from an authentic self, an authentic place, and maybe even communicate what it is that you need from an empowered place. All right. And particularly at the moment when we don't know where we're going with anything, to even just to hand it over to the divine, okay, surrendering it all, which I really feel is this big release as well. So it's a big message about surrender, okay, is allowing for the love force to navigate you and further you as well. Now, finally, on the bottom of this desk for the wool bonnet, okay, as an extra here also was the allies and support. And I think this is wonderful as well. Again, I think when we start really loving ourselves, we start actually drawing to us the actual right allies. People can really support us in our work, who can actually really sort of cultivate all the, sort of enormous amount of projects or ideas or gatherings or whatever is important to your community. Okay. And we'll start bringing that, we're actually drawing that to ourselves. But we can only do that when we really start letting go of things that no longer serve us, thinking and the ways of belief systems, particularly that keep on having us stuck in a way that we would rather no longer be in. So this is a real opportunity for you now to also navigate the right support, okay, not only on the spirit level, okay, it could be ancestors, your ancestors as well. Do call on them, okay? Do call on all the, your tool bag or your amulets or whatever it is to get the support you need as well. And all this is a form of self-love. I would even go as far as to say what you feed your mind, what you feed your body. Okay, they're all things that support you. Okay, you make a decision. Is this going to support me? Is this not going to support me? Okay, is this a self-loving way of behaving? It doesn't mean to say you're going to be a purist and you have to do everything right all the time. This is not what I'm saying. All I'm just saying is, all in all, to really sort of move forward in this journey, it is now a time for you to advance in a way that you've never done before, air signs. This is air in the spirit of the East. Okay, this is a really powerful message for you that you can actually cultivate on empowering yourself and really allowing the release to happen. Okay, and actually bring joy, which will bring me to the last surrender card. The other card we had was about not control, but just a form of control. It's stubbornness. Okay. Now, when you're stubborn about something, when you're holding on to something, this should be done like that. That has to be like that. Or if I don't do this, I don't do that. If I don't exercise, you lose the joy in anything that you do. So again, joy was at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So that's really important as well. So, to bring joy into your love is part of self-love. Okay. When you feel good about yourself, you've got joy as well. So all these cards are really beautifully intertwined. So Spirit of the East people, this is a little extra. I hope you don't mind me coming back to it as an extra edition. And again, now you can move on to any of the other directions, and I'll see you there. Thanks. Bye. Okay, so I'm here now to do the Spirit of the South. Okay, so those who chose this card, or if you're a fire sign, any of your elements, okay, to do with your fire, rather, your kind of planets, rather to do with a fire sign, so it could be a moon, Could be your sun, your rising, or your Venus, or your North Node. Particular nodes, I think it's always a really good one because that's to do with our soul development and soul lessons on the nodes as well. So if you have a fire sign, there could be, for your nodes, there could be a message for you here as well. So this is a main, as you know, and if you've listened to the first segment, the main thing is about surrender, release, making changes, and particularly to do with our past issues, okay? And really, this is the theme of this particular week as well, leading up to the full moon and beyond. All right. And I've called this the big release. And in order to elevate yourself, and you can listen to the first probably 20 minutes of the video that will give a real overall theme and message. Okay, but this is a bit more specific, so I'm not going to go into that. So as I was shuffling, one of the clearing the decks, one of the cards already popped out, but I'm going to start with the surrender deck, because for this full moon reading, what I'm going to do, or what I plan to do, is to see what you need to let go of. Okay, so what is it that you need to surrender? So the spirit of the south people, or any of the fire signs, elements. Okay, wow, okay, this is really nice. Okay, so some of you could be holding yourself back, right? So as you're coming up to this full moon, maybe you're actually noticing that you hold yourself back, you're a bit reticent in putting yourself forward. You know, you got the card here of surrender to the magic of who you are. Okay, perhaps, you feel that you have to do something really big and great all the time, unless otherwise it doesn't seem worthwhile doing. You could be an influencer or somebody from Instagram and just think that you always have to put beautiful posts up, and it's kind of tiring you out because you don't trust that actually yourself as you are is just perfect and divinely beautiful as you are. Okay, so here it says we all have magic in us, and even in the mundane aspects of life, remember that you're a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that come from just being you. Get really important. Okay, you might be somebody who's always actually sort of, tarting yourself up with lots of fake this and fake that because you're too afraid of being seen as you are. You might be sort of person who actually puts a whole load of makeup on before your partner sees you as well, whatever it is. I really doubt that some of that nature could be on this video watching it, okay? Because, as I said earlier on, that, they tend to be the same kind of soul group type people who want to listen to messages like this. Okay, there's lots of tarot readings out there that will give you a forecast about the man and what to do and how to win him back. And, he only thinks of you and all this kind of stuff. Okay, this is not that kind of reading. This is a soul growth, living a liberated life from your inside out. Okay, tools to help you to be able to sort of flourish and blossom in your life. Okay, so this is what this is for, and I'm sure that whoever it doesn't resonate to will not be on this channel. Anyway, so coming back to this is what you are. So I just feel like some of you definitely need to let go of something about the disbelief, okay, that you're magical. And if you need to speak to your inner child on this, do speak to your inner child regarding this card, because it is really important to recognize that you are magical. And you can even say that I am a magical being, and today I'm going to have a magical day. And be open. Okay, this particular month as well, while there's going to be a lot of turbulence and difficulty, there is also a huge power in actually lots of magic and blessings as well. And I think when you start feeling that you're actually magical or magic in yourself, then I think you're also going to attract yourself lots of potential magic. So this is really fantastic. Okay, I'm in fact going to turn the card over, okay, the deck over, because this is something I noticed I always fail and forget to do, and I did an add-on for the air sign people. But here at the bottom of the deck for you guys, as well as a double reading, is you have the wisdom of the body. So again, maybe something about to do with your body. I mean, I mentioned the body in terms of your looks as well. Okay, so really listen to what your body's telling you, and don't get too hung up on how you look all the time. Okay, this is really important. All right, and particularly as this card has come out with supports the magic of who you are. Okay, now also pay attention to who's around you. All right, you might notice that some people really drain you out after a conversation, or you might have found that you've lost the plot with somebody when they were going on and on about it, and you weren't able to get a word in edgeways, and you found that you just imploded or exploded. That can happen. While it's never pleasant to experience, sometimes there's it is sometimes what happens is the moment just implodes into a bit like a volcano. It's rumbling and rumbling and rumbling, and perhaps you've bypassed the ability to actually really communicate something to somebody, and you've kind of blown out. Now that happens, you've seen it happen, you've experienced it. I've also recently experienced this as well, but just be aware of what is going to make you feel as well magical. And the truth is, if you start feeling magical, you don't really want to be around people who are often very negative and also really draining. Okay, just allow yourself to be you. This is really important. And also, I find that the problem sometimes when you're actually also very light and stuff, you will be a magnet. It's a bit like the moth to a flame. Okay, so again, just as long as you're aware, but it doesn't mean to say you have to entertain them. It doesn't mean to say you have to oblige your time or give them your time up. Okay, but this is what you need to let go of. So basically what it is, whatever hang up you've got about who you are or how you should look and all that, this is now a time to let go of that and certainly listen to your body, as the wisdom of your body will guide you towards the right direction. Okay, the second card here I've got is from the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. And you've got a wonderful card, which is what the full moon wants to inform you, is that this is now a time for you to come into your power and abundance. Okay, now the theme for the new moon at the beginning of the month was power up, and I really feel this is still very much to be taken on board and actually holding on to your center as your power. Okay, this card also is telling me that I feel that by you owning and claiming your magic of who you are, there's an opportunity for you to start surrounding yourself with who's really supportive of you, creating an abundant life, going to the right community, creating your own tribe, or rather also feeling where you could be absolutely feeling abundant. Okay, this is really important here. Okay, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be using both cameras when I come to edit, but I'm recording as I have. And this is really important. I feel like some of you could even get some news or some kind of offer, perhaps that you haven't seen coming, but it will move you to a better trajectory. And the full moon is letting you know that to pay attention, to pay perhaps what wants to come in and what is being told, being communicated. Listen through, okay, in your dream states as well, and see what wants to land is what I'm kind of getting as well to do with this image. All right, make sure that you nurture yourself well, okay, but life could get quite hectic, I would say as well, and you might be feeling the flurry or the tension of this full moon. So it is really important that you create a space for, I'm looking for the book for this, did I not bring it to the desk? Okay, to create a space for maybe where you can actually also nourish and furnish yourself in a way that really supports you. All right, I'm just going to come back to what also will give you this abundant form of life. I feel like you need to get incubated though as well. Okay, you need to sort of go into the void. You need to also get quiet maybe. So some of you actually could feel maybe by actually channeling into who you are, the magic of who you are. It is really important. So at the bottom of the deck here, I definitely have a sense of needing to have faith and protection as well, and particularly the void at the bottom here as well. Okay, so I do feel like some of you could do with taking some time out, resting as well, and maybe even start sort of tuning in to what needs to be made abundant in your life, or asking yourself, what will create an abundant life to me? Okay, what does that look like to me? What does it mean to me? All right. Now, I will say this, that, the sort of patriarchal system of just going out for money and getting things as a form of greed and stuff is not really going to serve you at all in any way. And you might find that actually that will end up, or you might notice that you're lacking luster in your own self because you've sacrificed yourself time and time again, maybe for an income, or doing jobs that you've not wanted to do, or teaming up with things or people, or hanging around people that in fact take a kind of the magic of who you are, because that's not being reflected back. Okay, it's only when you start owning who you are, the magic of who you are, will you start drawing again that kind of energy. I feel also with this as well, if you really look carefully, she's got like accounts of little animals by her feet. So again, these are actually getting the right sort of tuning into and calling in the right people for you to make your life abundant. Okay, and maybe even getting the right food stuff again, and getting things that nourish you. Okay, and gathering the right source of resources as well, maybe even things to stimulate your mind. All right, now I'm going to go on to the Sacred Path cards and see what these cards actually want to inform you. Like I said, I think it'll do you good, the spirit of the South people, the fire sign element, to go get quiet, spend a day or two if you can If you can't do, a full time, full day of retreating, if it's an hour or even 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes is going to actually even give you a sense of abundance. Some of you might feel that actually really shortchanged of energy. And in fact, like I said already, that you've lost your luster, okay, your sense of brightness and your magic. I also feel that as well. Listen to your body as well. So if your body's tired, I mean, stop going on and on. There's nothing martyrish or, empowered about that way of living. These things are being stripped of ourselves, and this full moon is really invoking that. Okay, this I think is a really lovely card to get. We've got standing people, which is the sign of the trees. Okay, and trees are very rooted, and I talk about the chakras being, particularly this full moon and this week, because things can be quite turbulent. And sometimes when I find is when I just want to feel grounded and rooted, I will sit on the big roots, or right at the base trunk of the tree, and just sit on there, kind of like find myself a zone where I can feel like I'm literally sitting perched on a stool or seat, or just even lean against the tree. And I feel like with you, the fire spirit of this, the fire signs and the spirit of self, the root chakra could be very important for you. So I'm going to highlight the root chakra for yourselves. Okay, and this also is a nice balance between the giving and being rooted. Okay, now we can only also share our abundance as well. Okay, once we feel quite magical in ourselves, once we've spent time contemplating, surrounding ourselves with beauty, not denying ourselves what we love to do and all that. And we can also only offer that kind of sacredness within ourselves and the true giving only when it comes from a place of being rooted and feeling essentially very connected. Okay, so if you're somebody who's starving yourself from giving, and you're kind of resenting the giving because you've been running around for years, for your lifetime, since you were a child, being the enabler, being the protector, you've had to sacrifice your childhood, and you've ended up becoming an adult now, and you're actually still doing the same thing, or you find that these are the key issues and pain that are holding you back, or you feel abandoned. Okay, you've got to get in touch with that sense of self and that sense of truth. Okay, you might also find a lot of wisdom by going out to connect to a tree. So the outcome for your reading really is how it's moving into, is by tapping into the magic of who you are and even asking for the support that you need. Okay, you can even go to a tree, just choose a tree and then just tune into it. Maybe you might find that tree is a particular kind of tree, and it'll also have some kind of theme or archetypal theme that could help you, and maybe be the exact tree, a bit like the essential oils that you could tune into. Okay, it could be an ash tree or it could be a pine tree. Okay, don't worry about it. Don't go consciously choosing a tree. Just go and find a tree, plant yourself on it, and you might find that that tree actually has a message for you as well. That message also, I find, that could come through by you actually sitting there in quiet, and maybe just entering the void, by entering the silence in that time, by just allowing yourself to what you can receive. Okay, and you can invoke that up from the root chakra as well, and imagine Mother Earth speaking to you and nurturing you. Okay, I feel like in some way what you really need to start feeling is how you can create an abundant life for yourselves. Okay, but this is definitely a balance of giving out as well and sharing your abundance. Maybe some of you might have had some good fortune as well that could be coming through, and that's also allowing you to think about how it can be shared. All right, do think of the opposites as well. If you're feeling that you're actually being what was I about to say, or if something's kind of having a negative impact on you as well, just maybe sort of twist it on its head and see the humor in it, or allowing yourself not to get too rigid. Okay, I mean, trees are great, but again, if you're holding on to it, which is the previous message as well, that it can break, when something happens like the thunder or lightning rather, okay, it can break. So you need to bend with it as well. So again, if something is challenging you, all right, it is really important for you to feel that you actually have the grace and the bendiness of, like, say, a willow tree, or even a bamboo. Okay, now your card as well, which also can keep you in an even keel here, is the card of gratitude, and this is from the Wild Oracle Offering. So again, perhaps to invoke, again, I'm speaking to a collective few here. Okay, so this message will hopefully attract the abundance. I think you need to bring some more gratitude in. Okay, if you've been complaining and feeling really hard done by, I know it sounds almost counterproductive, And it can be really infuriating sometimes to think, God, I don't have anything to feel. I'm right angry right now. Honor that anger, honor that feeling, and then you can get to the place of gratitude as well. But gratitude does really help, because we really notice, the fact is we can breathe, that we're not up on, on a ventilator, or you can walk, or, you've got money to do your nails, or you go to the hairdressers, or you eat well, all these things that we take for granted, that we've got water out of a tap, or, you've got, firewood, or whatever. And there's so many other people, really, I mean, you only have to look at the war zone, okay, for example, Ukraine. Again, they've lost homes, they've lost everything. Lots of people have lost, again, and we forget that. And, and in fact, we don't need to be looking at the news day in and day out to feel where we're at, but sometimes it really puts some perspective, okay? And then again, I feel that somehow the gratitude and the magic of who you are together, okay? Maybe it's about being grateful for what you have, your physical body, your wellness, your body. You might be body shaming yourself at the moment as well, okay? Because like I said, at the bottom of the deck here, we've got, this sort of the wisdom of the body. But I feel I'm getting this fact that some of you could be body shaming, which means that you're not even recognizing the magic of your vessel, of your body, or, whether you're male or female, where the natural cycles of change, that we all go through, for example, the menopause is a really huge topic now. It's very topical, but perhaps you're holding on to sort of the old ideals about what it was like, and we're having a hard time because society always points out about how to stay youthful and, what to do in order to stay this way, that way, as if to make you wrong time and time again, and that you are simply not good enough. Okay, so again, just pay attention, be true to your body, to the wisdom of your body, listen to yourself, recognize the magic of who you are, and have the gratitude in all that is going on in your life, despite the fact how hard done by things can feel. Okay, or unfair things are sometimes, and they are, and they can be, I know that. Okay, but he says, just find just the one thing that you feel grateful for right now, and let that gratitude pour through your body. Okay, which is also really nice with this one. Okay, it's a healing balm like the warmth of the sun. Okay, and this is really, really important, because I think once you do that as a Spirit of South people, I mean, you've got such a dynamic hand here, and this is about really sharing your abundance. It could be sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge, when you acknowledge all that you have. Okay, again, look at where there's an abundance in your life, as with the trees, okay, releasing its oxygen, through the leaves, okay, and doing its natural cycle. Be grateful and by seeing the magic of everything. I think you will get through this full moon, and certainly this passage. And like I said in the last reading, it is really important to stay in your power, all right, here, and really listen to the deep, deep insights of yourself, and knowing that we're being upgraded, okay, and to recognize maybe that there's certain things you need to release, okay, which is the opening card. This card was actually the general message for everyone, where you can start feeling the abundance as well, and maybe even creating a void with things, and giving gratitude for things as well, where you can actually then create more abundance in your life. So I am going to leave it here, and I'm going to say that it's the root chakra for you guys. I'm not going to do one random. I've been picking up the stones out the bag, but I'm going to designate the root chakra for the fire people. Okay, really get rooted. All right, we've got several symbols here of rootedness, sitting on the ground. We've got the card of abundance, okay, which is also very grounding. We can only create and manifest through being grounded. Understanding people, and particularly this card here with a beautiful red color of the gratitude color. And I think that will also help to bring all that noise in your head down into your body and down into your roots as well. Okay, and just feeling the blessings that you have in your life. All right, I'm going to move on from here. Thank you for listening, the Spirit of the South and Fire people. And if you want to listen on to another element of your sign, do. And the next one will be the Spirit of the West, which is the water sign. Okay, so this next bit is for the Spirit of the West, people. Okay, now if you're also a water sign, if you've chosen this card, or you are a water sign, okay, and that would be Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. Okay, now this could be for any of your any element, any planets, any elements that is to do with the water sign as well. Okay, and we have got this Libra in the full moon, so that's an air sign. Which doesn't really matter. This is a theme. Okay, I've already talked generally about what the theme is, so you can listen to that if you haven't listened to the first segment of the video, and I go through in great detail what the message that was channeled, that came through about elevating yourself to new heights, and there's more about that there, and also about the journey, what we need to leave behind, which is to do with this card, and then 10 Sisters of Light, which is also to do with the main Kuan Yin message, which is a card I don't often use a deck at all, actually, certainly for the public readings, and occasionally, but I felt that this is to do with the Divine Feminine. And again, if you want to know more about that, just go back to the beginning, where I talk in great length, or about this theme, about why and where we are in the current energy of the skies. So with this reading, I am going to start with the surrender deck, okay? So this is the theme about what you need to let go. This is what's leading up to the energy of the full moon for the Spirit of the West people. Okay, and also any of the water sign. Let's see. Okay, now the water sign people, we've got two cards. We've got fear of change. So some of you, oh, wow, that's nice. Okay, the fear of change, I feel it definitely could be challenging some of you as well. This is the card here. Sorry, that fell on the ground. All right, and I also feel, and you've got the joy. So I'm going to read them both in tandem because they came out, but I feel that some of you, there are two ways to look at this as you're bringing up, because it's to do with what you need to let go of in the sense of coming up to this energy and stuff. I think some of you actually been afraid of actually really having a joyful life. Okay, so you think that's only for a select few, or I can't be doing this, or I have to hold on to this job because I'm not allowed to have good joy in my daily life. But with that comes change. That means you have to take the onus, you have to actually make the changes, you might have to end things, you might have to move on from things, you might have to shift your patterns, issues, people, your marriage, your relationship, whatever, family. All right, you might have to actually leave members of the family behind, able to really move forward, to really start living and actually claiming joy. Maybe you were raised not to believe that you could have joy because everything in the past has been a major struggle for you, Spirit of the West people, or the water signs, and you've been afraid to claim it. Okay, it says here, the key to a positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in a random act of smiling during both the hard and easy times, keeping surrendering to joy, to more joy. All right, but I feel this is a bigger scale. I think this is about making choices, and some of you really know that this is now coming to a head. It could be moving, okay, relocating, it could be locating, changing jobs, changing your career, maybe finding something completely new to do. Right, it may be even something more of a hobby that you might want to change or start doing, that is very important to you, but that will change your energy, which will bring more joy into your life, therefore actually really bring where you need to go next. Okay, we are living in times where things are a lot of uncertainty, okay, and a lot of people are engaging in changes that need to happen, but embark on a path of uncertainty. Okay, wow. Okay, I did feel, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I think the fear of change could come out of the blue, and if I haven't said, I think it will. But you're going to attract it, whatever happens. All right. I've not been using this camera as much today. Ooh, it looks very dark. Should be set. Oh, there we are. Okay, this is an attraction card here. That's it, that's better. All right, but anyway, this is an attraction. So this is what the full moon wants you to see and recognize as well, okay, and what's going to highlight that this is now a powerful time. While full moon's always a culmination of energy for release, and it is called the big release, in doing so you have the power to really attract what it is that you want. Okay, but this is really, I think, for you guys, Spirit of the West people, to let go, literally let go and let God actually, and be open to what could come in. Okay, so this is almost about not even necessarily steering the wheel at all, but actually surrendering fully and utterly in order to attract what's next for you. And maybe, as you see how she's sitting there patiently here on the ground level. You can't see this. I'm gonna just put it on this camera. Okay, so she's sitting there watching the moon. I mean, this moon is ginormous. All right, it's humongous. And so this is also about maybe thinking big, maybe dreaming up big. Now, what's interesting, you've got lots of double numbers here, because you've got number 33 as your Spirit of the West card as well, but that's the choice of card. But we've got double 44 here, okay, and also the card that was chosen as a collective card is 33. So there's definitely some kind of, I feel, a destiny thing. I wouldn't even say fated. This is about making a choice and maybe claiming the choice that is going to put you and changing things up in your life, and not being afraid to let go. One of the cards also, which is the Osho card, which I've not decided not to use for the actual individual spreads, but this card came out, which I'm using as also a key navigator for the readings, is here you have the card's totality. And see, you have to let go in order to be caught by the other set of hands. And, you know, and it is really scary to do that sometimes when we have to let go, but you have to trust that you will be caught, okay? Or you will fall in a way that's where the universe will catch you. Now, there's a really, again, I mentioned this before and I'll mention it again now, okay? There is a great video by Heather Emsworth where she talks about the planet Sedna, the archetypal story, okay, of Sedna, the goddess, and she talks about very well, so I don't want to regurgitate her brilliant storytelling, but in essence, it's about sometimes we have to surrender to what we fear most, okay, the letting go, in order to sort of transform and transcript ourselves into something else. And I feel that the Spirit of the West people who've chosen this theme, that this could be very much what you could be experiencing and will be experiencing. And we can only surrender to change when we actually allow ourselves to fall into joy as well. But we might not see that, okay, because this, of course, card was hidden behind that as well. But what's behind the allowing to change will be this card of joy. Okay, and a bit like this, if you're scared of letting go, you know, and you're going back and forth and think, oh no, I don't know if I can do that, I can do, but then you suddenly leap forward and you're caught by the, you know, it's a question of trust as well. You're going to feel such elation once you get release and let go. Okay, so there is definitely that. I do feel like some of you, like I said, it's not going to resonate with everybody, but there is a potential for a great attraction and something very unexpected coming. So even to lead your self and your life by not knowing and allowing the unexpected to be coming in, okay, because that's the bottom of the deck. Like I said, you're not going to see your way forward because we have the unexpected here in the darkness, so I may as well just show you, you know, so I feel that you're not going to see yourself forward. This is what I'm saying. Okay, but let yourself be led. This is very, very important, all right, because sometimes we can hold on to what's safe, you know, and I think there's a lot of re-navigation. We've all come out through this, you know, we're still feeling the effects of post-COVID and what effects it's had on everybody and ourselves individually. Most of us are getting ourselves back. Okay, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You've got two cards that are sort of stuck in my hand, so I'm taking them both. Now, this is really important, okay? This fear of change is about being truthful as well. Okay, so this is about, says truth as your protection. A very, very beautiful card, because it's when we're truthful to ourselves, when we know our truth, okay? I think I posted something up on Instagram recently. And again, you find my Instagram link below. I pop up occasional memes there, but you know, that's right, it was something about when we're aligned with our truth, it is then everything becomes effortless, right? And that's your protection as well. Truth is everything, okay, your core truth. But if you're living a truth that's not yours, you know, that somebody infringed upon or was, you know, had told you this is what you have to do or this is how to be, it's not your truth. And what happens is you start going up against it and it becomes very painful. Now, once you know what your truth is, it will protect you. I'm just going to give an example. Say, you're not somebody who really likes to drink a lot or, cares to drink, and you keep on welching on that and going to pubs just because you've got your friends to go there or whatever, all that is going to start affecting you, okay? Or maybe your truth is to go out dancing or do something more that brings you joy, all right, and then you keep on denying yourself that, okay? So this truth is going to give you the protection that you need, or the attraction, okay? And I'm going to read this card together as well, because this is victory, so they both come out together. So whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you need to change, okay, because it's all about change as well, that's the thing you need to do, you're going to end up living in victory, feeling elated, feeling this elation of winning, okay? Victory over yourself. It's a form of self-mastery here, all right? And I think you might find that actually by letting go of whatever it was, like I said, and sticking to the truth, be really discerning, sit down and really decide, what is it that I really want to do? What is it, what decision can I make? Listen to yourself. By all means, get counsel from others if need be. But sometimes it can mar our own decision making, because it can. And so this is, I think, particularly with yourselves, for the Spirit of the West, like I said, it's important that you face this sort of time of not being able to see, in order to be moving towards something that is more and far more important to you, by just trusting it. Okay, and it could be something as simple as not knowing when to go out, what to dress, not to dress. Stop following trends, just listening to yourself. If it means breaking away from what you thought were your people, your clan, then you do that. Okay, this is really important at the moment, because what's asking of us, okay, is that we're truthful. Now, you might be also doubting the feelings that are coming up for you, so also ask for guidance that could navigate the truth. All right. Now, the thing with this kind of thing, which sort of blocked my thoughts for a moment, or sort of tripped it up, was I was thinking about, was sometimes you might think your truth is actually, say, to be with somebody. Okay, and this particular somebody could be really hurting you, constantly lets you down, fails to ring you back, text you, say the lover situation, or even a friend, and you really, really want to be with that person. Okay, then that's what you think, or that's what you believe. But in your heart, you also know that that is not your truth. The truth is you want to be treated with respect. Yes, darling, yeah. Respect. You want to be treated in a loving way, or you want to be seen. So the truth might be that you need to back off. Okay, the truth might be that you need to let go of that relationship. So that is the kind of truth I'm talking about, because there's the egoic truth, okay, and there's a spiritual truth, the truth that is within ourselves, and it is up to you to aim high. Okay, now this message ties in quite well with the message that I channeled earlier on, I got before doing this whole reading, and it says, elevate yourself to new heights. Okay, a bit like the bow and arrow, take it as far as you can, but keep your awareness to what is in front of you. Okay, it is there that you'll find what needs healing for the big release. Okay, and then through that you're going to feel this incredible sense of victory. All right, now if you've been looping around recently over and over again, doing the same old complaints and feeling hard done by, and here's a card of hardship, okay, which some of you sorry, my cat has just flicked something by the plug. And again, I think some of you, this could be a sense of hardship, or maybe you're holding on to hardship. You think that's kind of a real, way to live. Okay, now may I embrace what's happening right now, as baffling or as painful as it is. Okay, help me, God, to trust where you're guiding me. I'm yours. Okay, so, some of it, again, might be experiencing hardship, or maybe you've, latched yourself onto living in a very hardshiped way, because that's what you think you can only have, all right? And you're kind of so used to living this way that you forgot to surrender to joy or even fear of change. What can you do to change your life out of hardship? Okay, what can you do to actually also surrender? You might be holding on to the idea that, that this is really hard, for me, and I don't know what to do. Sometimes when we get to that point as well, we just have to surrender it. I feel like for one or two people, I'm just picking up that this is an emotional matter for sure. Okay, so you need to actually really start honoring if there's certain kind of pain right now. Perhaps you need to go inward and really seek the truth out, which is what this overall message is about. Okay, and again, go to the beginning of the reading. Okay, this whole Jupiter and Neptune conjunction is very much about this. It's about letting go of our past issues, all right, and pain. It could be our past life. It could be this current life. And again, if you need to seek a past life regressor, do that. If it is to do with the inner child work, you know, with the chakras, is something I really offer, and it's a very, very powerful work. Okay, I'll put it across the screen here, Life Script Energy Series. Okay, Empowering Your Inner Child. There'll be a link below as well. Okay, you don't need to keep on getting stuck. This is an opportunity now, and it will keep you stuck if you decide not to do the work. There's no question about that. Okay, there is no bypassing here, and I do talk about that a lot. There's a lot of people that I also personally know that do a lot of bypassing because they lead their lives by the higher vibrations, and they've got all the right jargon, but they don't embody it. Okay, they're not embodying it because it's not a thinking thing. This is actually something that you really need support with. And certainly doing some inner journeying work to be able to release whatever is causing the emotional hardship. Okay, there's no martyrdom in staying stuck, and I can assure you it is very boring and tiring to listen to the same kind of complaints that people have, and I personally tend to keep them a wide berth. You know, you can be discerning, you can certainly be sympathetic, but be aware of those who keep on taking energy from you, and that's what's called the energy leakers. Okay, it's time now for you to really honor yourself, you know, surrender yourself to joy. You don't have to keep on being the person to be there for them. It's not that you're abandoning them, you're just putting boundaries up and making it really clear. You might just offer them a few minutes a time every time they speak about something, or you see them, that this is all I'm going to do right now unless you start doing the work, whatever it is. Okay, this is up to you to listen and surrender to joy. You don't have to lead a life that is full of grief, tumultuous emotions and dramas, all right, and you might find that something of that nature might be coming out of the unexpected. That could be positive, but whatever it is, put your intentions out there, okay, to attract what you want to attract, and let yourself be surprised about what could actually come. And this energy is very big as well. It's a long-term energy. Okay, so this is a really good time, particularly as the veils are quite thin, that you put some really positive intentions, and don't be mindful rather about some of the delusions and illusions. So again, watch out for grandoise type manifestations. You know, people have bought into the secret and a whole lot of stuff, which has actually caused a lot more emotional pain, I'm sure, for a lot of people, and a lot of shame-based thinking as well, something I've mentioned in the past. Okay, since I'm not getting a chakra for you guys, I am going to choose a chakra out of this bag for you lot. I think what am I saying here? Let's check. They're in here. Yeah. All right, so let's choose a chakra. Okay, the other one's got one that I felt quite intuitive. Okay, this one is to do with your third eye. Yes. Okay, so tuning in, the attraction point. Okay, this is your third eye chakra here. Okay, very important as well. Okay, this is the little heart. Not the best color here for some reason. But what I will say is, oh, maybe, hold on. These colors, I love these pebbles, but they're actually quite weak in its coloring. No, it's not. It's the heart chakra. Beg your pardon. I thought so. Okay, it's the heart chakra. Yep. So the heart. Okay, so again, really think about where you want to draw. This is supposed to be green. I'm not quite sure about that, but it is a form of sort of a light algae kind of color. But anyway, this is the heart chakra. So here you want to actually do the heart chakra and really start calling in what is important to me, what in my heart will bring joy. Okay, you can't have a closed heart and experience joy. It's just not possible. All right, so some of you, I think, really need to tune into your heart and start remembering that you don't keep on needing to live in pain. You don't need to keep on living in hardship. Okay, and start really owning the truth of yourself and tap into your heart for that truth. All right, so if you've lost your way, find it by tapping into your heart chakra. Do a heart chakra meditation, visualization of the color, of the sound. Again, just tune into it. I will be putting something on at some point in the future about different sound, you know, it's called toning, health toning. Yeah, little darling. Health toning. and that will really help to release the old patterns and the energies that are stuck and stagnant in your system and actually replace it with vibrancy and alignment. That's for sure. So thank you very much, Spirit of the West people, the water signs. I hope you got something out of this reading. If you need to re-listen to it again, do. And otherwise, alternatively, choose another element that might speak to you to do with where your sun, rising, or north node or moon could be. All right, I'm going to leave it here for you, and I'll catch you in the next video. Okay, finally, but not least, the Spirit of the North people, those who chose this card for the spirit of direction. If this was your direction, I'll be doing a reading in the next moment. But just quickly, this is also for all the earth signs. Okay, so if you're Taurus, Virgo, God, I always forget one of them. I will come back to that. Taurus, Virgo, blank. Earth signs, you know what your sign is if you're an earth sign. Okay, so without further ado, let me open the card that's going to be the what you need to release. So we're starting with the surrender deck. Okay, so this is coming into the Libra full moon energy. This is about what you might need to surrender. Okay, some of the readings, other readings have got one card, some of it was two. Okay, just depending on which cards have come out. I'm just asked for the Spirit of the North, what card would be most accurate and most needed for you at this time that could help you on your journey for this Libra full moon. And of course, like I already said in the intro, we've got the Neptune and Jupiter and Pisces, and we've got Pluto squaring this sun and the moon. So what does that all mean? That means that we're letting go of our past. We need to do some inner work in order to reclaim our soul power and move to the next leg of our journey collectively, as well as we're really shifting from the old paradigm. Okay, wow, this has come out 3 times. So a lot of you need to really claim the idea of surrendering to joy. This is about really kind of getting rid of the hardship, of the humdrum of life, and maybe even doing more things that are joyful. So if you're not actually changing your life, I think most of you people of the Spirit of the North, the earth signs, you know, you've really come to the awareness that you need to shift to start creating a life that's much more joyful. Okay, that means moving, doing whatever it is, doing the kind of work that you really want to do, you know, and what's stopping you as well, which is interesting. At the bottom of the deck here is negative thinking. So again, some of you could be using excuses up, okay, that every time somebody suggests something to do with joy, you can do this, do that, your negative thinking kicks in. Oh yeah, well, I can't do that because I need to have X amount of money. Oh yeah, I can't do that because then, you know, my husband's not going to like it. Or, oh no, yeah, I can't do it because I've got certain duty that calls. And this is negative thinking, which really is tiring, and definitely it takes you away from the joy. But I think Spirit of the North people, you guys, all right, earth signs, you are now have the opportunity to really claim your joy into positive change. This is a key to positive change in your life, is to let joy in and savor it. Okay, so do things that really do that. Indulge in your random acts of smiling during the both hard and easy times, and keep surrendering to more joy. All right, I will say with this as well, things since the climate right now is quite tumultuous as well. Okay, it is very easy to get caught up in negative thinking, because this card was at the bottom of the deck. So that's what's the energy that's around you as well. In some cases, even defensiveness. When you find yourself thinking defensively, acting defensively, or you know, or behaving and thinking negatively, enter the silence. Just literally blot your mind out. Just imagine an empty cave, okay, or a very still pond. Okay, you can do that kind of just by a few breath works and breathing, which will really help for you to clear the noise, okay, because you cannot think positively, you cannot move towards joy if you're always drowning your thoughts with negative thinking, okay. Recently, I ended up a conversation rather bluntly and abruptly with a friend because she was not having anything to do with any suggestions I was making, and she was getting more vocal and more negative by the minute. Yeah, there was just too much, you know, I could have maybe been a bit more, you know, but I did lose it, I will admit. And I was just unable to stay. I think it's because I was 50 minutes on the phone navigating the terrain of the constant negative thinking, and I was not able to you know, break through it. And sometimes, you know, it's a bit like you have to slap somebody verbally or otherwise, you know, to get them to stop, or clap, you know, just to break that crazy moment of insane energy that suddenly descended. Okay, so sometimes that's, you know, what's required. I'm not saying that you go slapping people at all, but, you know, sometimes you need to raise your voice and communicate in a way that really gets people out of a very a whirlpool of negative thinking. All right, but obviously, if you're in a you know, in a conversation where somebody is, you know, and you're just having a chat and you're just noticing, which would have been the right way of doing things as well. And the best way to do things is by putting a boundary up, saying, well, thanks for sharing, you know, I appreciate your thoughts, but can we kind of put a line here, please, you know, or I've come out for a walk and I don't want to actually be listening to this negative talk. All right. So for the Spirit of the North, whoever chose that today, or for this new, be attentive to your effect on people, as well as be attentive to your effect to yourself, because whatever's going on for yourself, you are seeping that out, and particularly you are denying yourself the opportunity for joy. And I think those who are listening, you'll find that in order to move into a better space this new moon, this could be very heightened, that you need to make changes to bring more joy into your life. All right, now this card, yeah, this is protection card as well. So again, I feel like in some way, in order to do that, we've had this card that wanted to pop out before. There's a card of change. Some of these cards are really reflecting the other cards as well, other elements and other direction, but there's definitely a change going on, and you need to change something. This is how I'm reading it. You need to change the way you do things. Okay, Spirit of the North people, whoever's listening to this, there is some change here that has coming up and is forcing you to change. And I think you're only going to remain in the zone of negative thinking and pain if you don't protect yourself from the external factors. Okay, now I know it's very easy to blame the external factors from our hardship and things that are not working for us, but often it is an opportunity for us to see where we need to make changes within ourselves and we need to let go. Okay, like I said already, to go back to the first 20 minutes or whatever it is, or the intro, because I go into much greater detail about what the theme of this Libra new moon, and because of the planetary aspects and how they're all aligned, it is very much about reconfiguring your path, okay, and yourself. And I feel, but here you have this beautiful card of protection, all right, on this camera here. Okay, and you can see that she's sitting in this basket needing to be protected. And it's like you need to remove yourself from what is actually harming you. You know, this is a bird carrying her as well. So if you're in constant conversation with people that's hurting you, or in your mindset as well, the negative thinking and feeling how hard done by you are and being defensive about having to have things your way, then I would really say that you need to protect yourself. And it is up to you to remove yourself. If you're in a relationship that's really aggressive or abusive, or in a relationship even at work where your needs are not being met, it is up to you to protect yourself and remove yourself from it. Okay, you know, there are lots of weirdos out there as well, and people can lure you in. You know, this is a time of Neptune and a lot of delusional, so be careful if you're out on a dating site or on dating, or just be careful who you're communicating with. You know, be very discerning and vigilant what's going on around you, because it'll be very easy to actually get caught up in some major illusion and disillusion as well. Okay, so in order to protect yourself, you need to go inward and start thinking about what really nurtures your soul. What kind of person, what kind of relationship, what kind of life do I want to have? If you can't have that life immediately accessible to you, then you need to go without in order to create a new life. All right, and this is how things are. Holding on to things with serious grip actually really creates a lot of emotional pain. And really, it's about discovering why you're holding on so tightly. All right, sometimes the very thing that we think we want or need to work through it is quite painful. Yeah, so this is very apt as well. So this, you know, you guys got this card of purification. So there is definitely some kind of emotional letting go that needs to happen. Yeah, and despite the fact that you got the opening card, which is wanting to turn to joy, I think for you guys to get to here, rather to get to this as well, you need to do some purification. Okay, some really sweat lodge, go and see a therapist, go and see some, you know, past life regression, because I feel with some of you, there is a lot of energy that's very almost heartbreaking or very difficult to get through. Now, I'm not saying this to be negative in any way, but if you even look at this, you know, there's change here, which is at the bottom of the deck, and you see the lightning. So things have to be almost like boom, you know. So if you've been kind of, you know, spoken to in such a way and all that, maybe you need to look at what energy you're bringing into the space to move you out of it. Okay. This is also, sometimes life happens in this way, like there's a massive clip, you know, where, you know, a lightning will break a tree, for example, cause a fire. All right, you know, but this is, I feel with you guys, this is something, you know, you need to really get to the truth of the matter. And what's interesting here, this is also protection, right? And we got the last direction, got truth as protection. So you need to be really honest, very brutally honest, and look at yourself honestly, you know, and really do the excavation that you need to be able to get to your core self and do some inner work. Because when you do that, you can actually really start releasing and letting go all the pain and the kind of things you've been carrying. I'm also reading the card in that way as well, because you see, while the bird is taking her somewhere, she's completely hunched up, and it's as if you're carrying this pain, you know, and this is now time for you to release it. Let the ghosts of the past be released. Okay, I might choose another card. I'm going to look at the bottom card. Yeah, you know, I think you guys are being, some of you are being challenged by such opposite energy between what you want and what you're seeing and what you're getting. And that is actually also really giving you some kind of very much, discord. Okay, here we have a card of healing. So definitely, like I said, you need to do some healing here. I've opened this as a clarifier. Yeah, I wanted to make it better for you guys, but unfortunately, really healing needs to happen. So whoever's listening to the Spirit of the North, know that you're loved by the divine, that you have this wonderful magic in you, but at the moment it is being tainted and you're not being able to live a life of joy because you're too busy being negative, being defensive, and actually not allowing something new to come in because you're holding on to how things need to be. Yeah, and this is now a time of creating some sacred space where you can actually get some medicine, okay, and do whatever it takes for you to actually get your own natural needs to nurture yourself and find the healing that you need. Okay, I do feel that there is definitely some kind of inner child work that needs to happen. Once again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I offer inner child work with the chakras. It is profound, okay, because you're shifting the energies, all the block thinking from a very young age, from like, you know, since you were born, before you were even born, all the way up to different levels of your formative years. They tend to get blocked. And what happens is we end up living out of these sort of imbalanced and dysfunctional energy centers, and you know, and it's very subtle and it's just embedded, but then at the same time it's kind of like the pus coming out, you know, and it gets harder as we get older as well. It gets really harder to contain. It's just the way it is. It's like any infection you might have. If you haven't treated your wound, eventually it will just start getting septic, and then all the kind of, you see the pus oozing out. And it's the same with our emotional selves. In this particular time, it is calling us collectively to start doing some work. So whichever path you take to do that, it has to be an inner journey though. Okay, it just has to be a journey. Okay, there's no bypassing it. Otherwise, you're going to be very resentful, stuck, and very living a life that's not particularly a good, happy one. So let's see what divine wild oracle card that I can offer you for this reading, for this particular one. Okay, now again, this is, you know, these cards are quite sort of correlating. They're just in different formats, different cards coming out with the same energy and the same message. So we've got here the card of abundance. Okay, divine, it says, divine beloved, please show me how to feel fully deserving to receive. I release my ego's plan and open to being a vehicle for abundance. So again, this is about change, right? Sometimes we might be faced with change that we don't really want, and you know, I know, darling, just go outside for a minute. Yeah. And then this is, you know, this is about allowing ourselves the good to receive. Now, if we're holding on to what we feel, you know, is coming at us, you know, or just wanting to, you know, push it away, we're not going to allow the possibility of something hatching. Now, this, you know, I feel like this one, she's pushing this egg away. This change is coming, and she's got this thing, and she's almost wanting to push it away, but she has no idea what's inside the egg, what could possibly come. But when we surrender to the change, when we surrender the possibility of everything and deserving of everything, despite what it might look like and what we might be experiencing, it certainly will be a vehicle for abundance. So this is an extra message for the spirit of the North people, that allow abundance to come in, allow yourself to feel the joy of abundance, and particularly through change. Okay, it's really important that you allow these elements. Okay, you know, maybe stop protecting yourself, let go of the old, you know, burn it, purge it, see a therapist, see, you know, a transformational coach like me, whatever it is, so you can really work with these deeper issues, or at the very least, open up to making the changes you can. Okay, but the change has to happen from the inside. It's not an external change. You can change as much as you can, change your nails, change your hair, change the, but if you're still operating out of the same dysfunctional inner self, you're going to attract the same kind of feelings and experiences. Okay, you guys also got the heart chakra as well. So the heart chakra is really, this is a third direction. So heart chakra, it is for you guys as well. Okay, really opening up your heart, checking in with your heart, tapping into your inner child through your heart as well. Okay, do look at a video that attracts you on YouTube. The sound is really powerful. You can repeat that a few times, going ah, you know, think about the energy vibrating in the chakra. I keep saying this, do some videos really, because I do highly recommend it. I do have some healing videos as well, so I'll put the playlist link up below, which you might find will help to strengthen your inner core through various chakras, but particularly with the heart one as well. I do have some definitely up already in my playlist in YouTube, because I have done a whole series of healing to do with particularly relationships as well, particularly when we feel abandoned and really hurt and wounded, which is really comes from the heart as well. And it's very important that we don't allow our heart to close. So, my dear spirit of the North people and the earth element, those who listen to this, I hope there is something there for you to take away with. Okay, do not feel disgruntled. Do feel, you know, the gratitude. Be patient as well in what is going on. Trust that life is taking you in a way that you need to go. Trust no matter how challenging and turbulent things could be. Okay, this is not the case for everyone, of course. You know, some of you could be really sort of jumping on joy and feeling really great, but, you know, things are so changeable at the moment. So again, one day you could be feeling great. The next day you could be feeling like, oh my God, you know, I really don't feel, you know, just feeling really blah and depressed. Again, just trust it, release the thoughts, release the fears around anything that could be stopping you from moving forward in joy, and really do concentrate on some healing. Trust that the books, the right videos, the right healing, modalities enter you, and be open to receiving them, because I think this is something that you guys will really, really benefit from. And just to finish, the 10 Sisters of Light, which is the main overall collective card. This is about the souls. You guys listening to this, you're an old soul, and this is about really releasing and continuing to purge and purify ourselves, so we can actually be the light and the beacon that we need to be in the world today, because this is a massive movement that is happening. And we're just beginning on the fringes of the change and the transition. And we need to really be there, not only for ourselves, but for other people as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. And thank you for getting this far with the readings. Now there's also a link below to do with some very inexpensive readings, starting at £1 or $1, depending where you are. And they are all down in the description box as well. And these donations go towards creating a deck for the future that I'll be putting together. But in the meantime, please do subscribe, like, and share. And wish you all the best this Libra full moon, and a great passage for the months to come. But I'll be also releasing another video on the new moon on the 30th of April for the solar eclipse. Until then, I wish you all the best, lots of love and blessings. Thanks for listening. Bye.